What if everything you've ever believed about reality isn't quite what it seems? What if the very fabric of existence, everything from the stars in the sky to the thoughts in your mind, is far more interconnected and mysterious than we could ever imagine? Imagine a world where the smallest particles defy logic, where matter exists and doesn't exist at the same time, where observation itself can change the outcome of reality. Now imagine ancient wisdom, centuries old Buddhist teachings, offering a strikingly similar perspective. Could it be that the truths uncovered by modern science and the insights shared by the Buddha are in fact two ways of seeing the same ultimate reality? Welcome to a journey into the fascinating crossroads of quantum physics and Buddhism. These two seemingly opposite realms, one rooted in spirituality, the other in scientific exploration, are converging in ways that challenge everything we think we know about life, the universe, and what it means to be human. Buddhism teaches us about emptiness, the idea that all things lack an independent, fixed self. It reminds us that everything we experience arises through relationships, interconnected causes, and conditions. Similarly, quantum physics has revealed that particles, at their most fundamental level, are not fixed objects but exist in states of probabilities, constantly influenced by the presence of the observer. Is this a coincidence, or are these insights pointing to a deeper truth about existence? What does this mean for you, for me, for all of us? It means reality might not be as solid, as separate, as fixed as we tend to believe. It means that the way we perceive ourselves and the world is deeply tied to how we interact with it. And it means that the wisdom of the past and the discoveries of the present are calling us to rethink what it means to be human, to see ourselves not as isolated beings, but as part of a boundless, ever-changing universe. This isn't just an intellectual exercise. When you begin to grasp these ideas, they have the power to transform how you live. You start to see the beauty of interconnectedness in every aspect of your life, the way you relate to others, the way you handle challenges, even the way you understand your own mind. It all shifts. You realize that nothing is permanent, and yet, within this impermanence lies freedom, creativity, and infinite potential. As we dive deeper, we'll explore how the concept of emptiness aligns with the quantum world. We'll reflect on how both perspectives invite us to move beyond fear and ego, to embrace life with an open heart and a curious mind. So, whether you're here as a spiritual seeker, a science enthusiast, or simply someone curious about the mysteries of existence, you're in the right place. Together, let's uncover what it means to truly see reality, beyond labels, beyond assumptions, beyond the surface. Stay with us, because this journey might just change how you see yourself, your world, and the entire universe. Let's take a moment to reflect on one of the most profound and transformative teachings in Buddhism, emptiness or shunyata. At first, the word emptiness might sound unsettling, even bleak, but what it really points to is a truth so deep, so liberating, that it has the power to transform the way we experience life. Emptiness doesn't mean nothingness. It's not about a void or the absence of meaning. Instead, it's the realization that nothing in existence exists independently, on its own. Everything arises through relationships, causes, and conditions. Let's take a simple example: a tree. At first glance, it seems like a separate, solid thing, a tree standing tall on its own. But when you look closer, you see that its existence depends on so many factors: sunlight, rain, the nutrients in the soil, the seed it grew from, the air it breathes. Without these, the tree simply wouldn't exist. Its very essence is interconnected with the world around it. Now think about this. The same is true for everything, every object, every person, every emotion. A cup of coffee depends on farmers, water, the earth, and countless other conditions to exist. Even the feelings we experience, like happiness or sadness, don't arise out of nowhere. They depend on our thoughts, our circumstances, and the people around us. Nothing exists in isolation. This is what Buddhism means by emptiness, the absence of an independent, permanent self in all things. At first, this realization might feel overwhelming, but when you sit with it, something shifts. You start to see the beauty in this interconnection. You begin to understand that nothing is fixed or unchangeable, and with that understanding comes freedom. We spend so much of our lives clinging to people, to possessions, to ideas of who we think we are, and that clinging often leads to suffering because nothing stays the same. Relationships change, material things fade, and even we are constantly evolving. But what if instead of resisting this change, we embraced it? What if we could see the impermanence of everything not as a loss, but as a reminder to live fully in each moment, to let go of what we don't need, and to appreciate what we have while we have it? When we understand emptiness, we stop trying to hold on to the ungraspable. We stop seeing life as a collection of separate pieces and start seeing it as a beautiful, interconnected whole. Emptiness teaches us to live with an open heart and an open mind. It invites us to let go of rigid ideas about ourselves and the world, to step into the flow of life with curiosity and acceptance. And when we do, something remarkable happens. We begin to experience life more deeply. We notice the interconnected web of existence in everything around us, from the smallest blade of grass to the people we meet each day. We stop feeling so alone, so separate, and start feeling more human, more connected to each other and the world we share. This is the wisdom of emptiness, and it's not just a philosophical idea. It's a practice, a way of seeing and being in the world that can bring us peace and freedom. So as we explore this concept together, I invite you to reflect on your own life. What are you holding on to? What might you let go of to live more freely? And how might understanding the interconnected nature of all things change the way you see yourself and the world? Stay with us as we continue this journey into the heart of Buddhist wisdom, uncovering truths that can reshape how we live, how we relate to others, and how we see the universe. Let's turn our attention now to the fascinating world of quantum physics, a realm where the laws of reality as we know them seem to break down. Here, things get stranger than anything we could have imagined. Did you know that the tiniest particles of existence can exist in multiple states at once, only deciding their state when they are observed? This mind-bending phenomenon is known as quantum superposition, and it flips our everyday understanding of reality on its head. How can something exist in two places, or even two forms, at the same time? And what does it mean that observation itself can determine the outcome? It's as though the act of looking shapes reality itself. And that's not all. Let's talk about quantum entanglement, an idea that's even more astonishing. Imagine two particles that are so deeply connected that no matter how far apart they are, whether they're a few inches away or separated by galaxies, a change in one instantly affects the other. It's as if they share an invisible bond, a connection that transcends space and time. Albert Einstein himself called this spooky action at a distance, and to this day, scientists are still grappling with its implications. How can two particles remain so interconnected, beyond the boundaries of what we consider possible? Now, here's where it gets even more fascinating. When we step back and look at these discoveries, they start to sound eerily familiar. Quantum physics is revealing a reality that is fluid, interconnected, and deeply influenced by observation. Does that remind you of anything? For centuries, Buddhism has taught that all things are interdependent, arising and existing only through relationships with other causes and conditions. Buddhism also teaches impermanence, that everything is in a constant state of change and transformation. Could it be that quantum physics is uncovering through science what Buddhism has understood through spiritual insight for thousands of years? At their core, both perspectives challenge the idea of a fixed, separate reality. They invite us to see the world not as a collection of isolated things, but as an intricate web of relationships where nothing exists independently. In quantum physics, particles don't have a definite state until they are observed. just as Buddhism suggests that the way we perceive the world shapes how we experience it, and just as quantum entanglement demonstrates a deep, mysterious connection between particles, Buddhism teaches that everything in existence is interwoven, like an infinite tapestry where every thread depends on the others. What does this mean for us as humans? It means that we are not as separate as we might think. The boundaries we draw, between ourselves and others, between mind and matter, are not as rigid as they appear. Reality is far more interconnected, dynamic, and alive than we can fully comprehend. And when we begin to understand this, something shifts in how we live. We start to see ourselves as part of something much greater than the individual self. We recognize that our actions, our thoughts, and even the way we observe the world have an impact, not just on our own lives, but on the lives of others and the universe itself. These parallels between quantum physics and Buddhism are more than just fascinating. They are an invitation to explore the deeper nature of reality and to rethink what it means to be human. When we understand that everything is interconnected, we begin to live with greater awareness, compassion, and openness. We see the profound beauty in the ever-changing, ever-connected flow of life. So, as we dive deeper into these mysteries, ask yourself, what if the world isn't as solid or separate as it seems? What if the boundaries you see are just an illusion? And what might happen if you lived with the awareness that everything, from the smallest particle to the vastness of the cosmos, is part of one interconnected whole? This journey into quantum physics and Buddhism isn't just about understanding, it's about awakening to a new way of seeing, a new way of being. Let's continue exploring this together, uncovering truths that have the power to transform how we view ourselves, each other, and the universe. Let's talk about something truly remarkable, the role of the observer. Both Buddhism and quantum physics highlight this in ways that challenge and inspire us. In quantum mechanics, the act of observing a particle forces it to choose a state. Before observation, that particle exists in a state of probability. It's everywhere and nowhere at once. But the moment we observe it, it solidifies into something definite. In other words, the observer doesn't just passively watch. The observer plays an active role in shaping reality itself. Now let's bring this back to Buddhism. Thousands of years ago, the Buddha taught that our minds shape our perception of the world, the way we think, the emotions we carry, and the biases we hold, all color the way we experience life. Imagine walking into a room where someone you dislike is present. How does that room feel to you? Probably tense, uncomfortable, maybe even hostile. Now imagine walking into that same room, but this time it's filled with people you love. Doesn't it feel completely different? That's not the room itself changing. It's your mind shaping your reality. The way you observe your surroundings creates the experience you have. This alignment between quantum physics and Buddhism is more than just an interesting coincidence. It's a profound reminder of how powerful we are as observers of our own lives. If quantum physics tells us that observation shapes the physical world, and Buddhism teaches us that our minds shape how we experience life, then we hold incredible potential to change our reality. This isn't just abstract theory, it's deeply practical and empowering. Think about it. If the way we observe the world influences what we see, then we have the ability to shift our perspective. We can choose to see challenges not as insurmountable obstacles, but as opportunities to grow. We can choose to approach difficult people with compassion instead of judgment. We can choose to see beauty and interconnectedness where before we only saw separation. In doing so, we don't just change our perception, we change our experience of life itself. But this also comes with responsibility. If our observation shapes reality, then the way we choose to engage with the world matters. Are we approaching life with mindfulness, kindness, and curiosity? Or are we stuck in patterns of negativity, fear, and attachment? Buddhism encourages us to cultivate awareness, to see clearly, and to respond with wisdom. Quantum physics shows us that the universe is far more mysterious and fluid than we ever imagined. Together, they teach us that our role as observers isn't passive. It's a creative act. Every moment is an opportunity to shape reality, to see the world in a way that brings more harmony, connection, and understanding. So, what does this mean for us as humans? It means that we are not powerless in the face of life's uncertainties. It means that, even in moments of difficulty, we can choose how we observe and respond. It means that our thoughts, our presence, and our intentions have a ripple effect, not just on our own lives, but on the world around us. As you reflect on this, consider how you're observing your life right now. Are there places where you're holding on too tightly, seeing things only through the lens of fear or judgment? What might shift if you approach those situations with curiosity, openness, or even love? The wisdom of Buddhism and the discoveries of quantum physics invite us to step into this role as conscious observers, to take ownership of how we see the world, and in doing so, to transform it. This is where science and spirituality meet, and it's not just fascinating, it's a call to action. How we observe, how we think, how we choose to see the world can reshape everything. So, let's embrace this role with mindfulness, compassion, and an open heart. Together, let's explore what it means to truly see and create a reality that reflects the best of what it means to be human. Welcome to today's episode of our Buddhism Podcast. Today, we're diving into a fascinating topic, the intriguing parallels between Buddhism and quantum physics. At first glance, these two might seem worlds apart, one rooted in spiritual practice and the other in cutting-edge science. But as we explore deeper, we'll see how they reflect and complement each other in profound ways. Quantum physics, at its core, tries to unravel the mechanics of the universe, the building blocks of reality. It shows us a world that is far from ordinary, particles that exist in multiple states at once, matter that's more energy than solid substance, and an interconnected web of existence where everything influences everything else. It's mind-bending, isn't it? Buddhism, on the other hand, takes us on an entirely different journey, a journey inward. Its goal isn't to explain the universe, but to help us transcend suffering, find inner peace, and achieve liberation. While quantum physics reveals the external mysteries of reality, Buddhism offers practical tools to navigate the internal world of our mind and emotions. But here's the beauty. These two perspectives aren't in conflict. They're wonderfully complementary. Think about it. Quantum physics tells us that reality is interconnected, dynamic, and unpredictable. Buddhism teaches us to live harmoniously in this very kind of reality. It gives us ethical principles, mindfulness practices, and a deep awareness of how our thoughts, words, and actions ripple through the interconnected web of existence. It's as if Buddhism offers a guidebook for living in the kind of world that quantum physics describes. For example, let's take impermanence, one of the central teachings of Buddhism. Quantum physics mirrors this idea, showing us that the universe is in a constant state of flux. Nothing is fixed. Everything is energy, moving and shifting at every moment. This understanding can feel overwhelming, even unsettling. But Buddhism teaches us not to resist this truth. Instead, it encourages us to embrace impermanence with grace, to flow with change rather than fight against it. Then there's the concept of interdependence. In Buddhism, this is expressed through the teaching of dependent origination, the idea that nothing exists independently and everything arises through causes and conditions. Quantum physics echoes this interconnectedness, where even particles at vast distances can influence one another. It's a humbling realization. We're not isolated beings. Our actions, no matter how small, have an impact on the whole. So what does this mean for us as humans? It means that understanding the universe isn't enough. We need wisdom to navigate it. Quantum physics gives us knowledge, but Buddhism offers the wisdom to live ethically, compassionately, and mindfully in a reality that's far more interconnected and unpredictable than we might realize. At the end of the day, quantum physics and Buddhism are two sides of the same coin. One speaks to our curiosity about the outer world, the other to our longing for inner transformation. Together, they remind us that science and spirituality don't have to be at odds. They can walk hand in hand, enriching our understanding of reality and guiding us toward a more harmonious way of being. Thank you for joining us on this journey today. If you enjoyed this episode of the Buddhism Podcast, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Let's continue exploring these mysteries together. Until next time, take care, and may you find peace and wisdom in every moment. So, what does all of this mean for us as humans? When we reflect on the insights from both Buddhism and quantum physics, we begin to uncover some profound truths about how we live, how we connect, and how we find peace. First, it reminds us of something deeply powerful. We're not separate from the world around us. We're deeply connected to everything and everyone. Think about it. Our thoughts, our words, our actions, they're not isolated. They ripple out into the world, touching lives, shaping outcomes, and creating waves of change, no matter how small. How we treat others, how we care for the planet, even how we speak to ourselves. All of this matters. The interconnectedness that quantum physics reveals isn't just a scientific theory. It's something we can feel in our daily lives. It's in the way a smile can brighten someone's day, or how compassion can inspire hope. Second, there's impermanence, this idea that nothing stays the same forever. At first, this can feel unsettling. We all want stability, something to hold onto in a world that feels chaotic. But Buddhism teaches us to see impermanence not as a threat, but as a gift. Change is what allows growth, healing, and transformation. When we embrace this truth, we begin to let go of fear and the need to control everything. Life's unpredictability doesn't have to be something we resist. It can be something we flow with, like a river carrying us forward. Imagine the freedom that comes from accepting that it's okay to not have all the answers, to not hold on so tightly. This is where we start to find ease. Finally, there's mindfulness, the heart of Buddhist practice. At its core, mindfulness teaches us to be fully present, to observe the moment we're in without judgment. It's not about escaping reality, it's about seeing reality as it truly is, not as we wish it to be. When we approach life this way, with an open mind and heart, we start to notice things we've overlooked, the beauty of a sunrise, the warmth of a kind word, the way even the smallest moments carry meaning. In that presence, we find clarity, and in that clarity, we find peace. These teachings aren't abstract. They're not meant to be confined to meditation cushions or temples. They're meant to be lived moment by moment in the messy, beautiful complexity of everyday life. They remind us that being human is not just about understanding the world intellectually, but also about connecting to it deeply, with compassion and wisdom. So, as we navigate our lives, through joy and sorrow, certainty and uncertainty, Buddhism offers us a compass. It shows us how to live in harmony with the world's interconnectedness, to embrace impermanence with courage, and to find peace by simply being present. Thank you for spending this time with us on the Buddhism Podcast. If this message resonates with you, take it into your day, reflect on it, and share it with someone who might need to hear it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, may you find moments of peace, wisdom, and connection in every step of your journey. The dialogue between quantum physics and Buddhism is just beginning, and as we explore this convergence, it feels like we're standing on the edge of something vast and deeply profound. A meeting point where science and spirituality come together to help us better understand the essence of being human. Could quantum consciousness studies reveal new insights about the nature of awareness? Think about it. If quantum physics can uncover the hidden layers of reality, could it also help us understand the mystery of our own minds? What if the very fabric of consciousness, our thoughts, our emotions, our sense of self, was connected to the quantum field. These aren't just academic questions. They strike at the heart of who we are. They invite us to look deeper, not just at the universe, but within ourselves. At the same time, meditation, one of the most ancient practices in Buddhism, may hold keys to these mysteries. When we meditate, we're not just calming the mind, we're observing it. We're tuning into the subtle flow of awareness, peeling back the layers of thought and perception. Scientists are starting to recognize this too. They're studying how meditation affects the brain, how it might unlock the hidden potential of the mind. Could the stillness we find in meditation mirror the profound stillness at the heart of quantum physics? Could these practices help scientists bridge the gap between what we observe externally and what we experience internally? These questions are more than theories. They remind us of something deeply human. They remind us that our search for truth isn't limited to one path or perspective. Science and spirituality aren't rivals, they're allies. They're two lenses, each offering a unique way to see the world. Science shows us the outer workings of reality, while spirituality invites us to explore the inner dimensions of existence. Together, they don't just give us answers, they give us a deeper sense of wonder, humility, and connection. When we look at the universe through both of these lenses, a beautiful picture begins to emerge. Quantum physics reveals a reality that's interconnected, dynamic, and full of possibilities. Buddhism teaches us how to live with wisdom and compassion in that reality. One explains the mechanics, the other gives us the tools to navigate it. It's like two pieces of a puzzle coming together to form a clearer, more complete understanding of life. But this isn't just about understanding, it's about action. It's about how we, as humans, choose to live in this interconnected world. It's about fostering compassion, recognizing our shared humanity, and embracing the unknown with curiosity rather than fear. Imagine what kind of future we could create if we combined the knowledge of science with the wisdom of spirituality. A future where our pursuit of truth leads not just to technological progress, but to a more compassionate, connected, and enlightened way of being. So, as we continue this journey of discovery, let's keep asking these big questions. Let's keep exploring not just the outer universe, but our inner worlds as well. Together, science and spirituality have the power to transform not just how we see reality, but how we live in it. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of quantum physics and Buddhism. If this resonates with you, we invite you to share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more conversations that inspire curiosity and connection. Until next time, may you find peace, wisdom, and wonder in every moment of your journey. So, what have we uncovered today? Let's take a moment to reflect on the journey we've just been on. Buddhism and quantum physics, two seemingly different worlds, come together to challenge us in the most profound way. They ask us to rethink everything we thought we knew about reality. Both perspectives remind us of something extraordinary. Everything is interconnected. Nothing exists in isolation. In quantum physics, we see this in the way particles influence each other across vast distances, as though the boundaries between them don't even exist. Buddhism, too, teaches us that all things arise through causes and conditions, woven together in a vast web of interdependence. This isn't just an abstract idea, it's a call to recognize how deeply our lives are intertwined with the people and the world around us. Every action we take, no matter how small, sends ripples through the universe. And then there's impermanence. Quantum physics shows us that nothing in the universe is fixed. At its core, reality is a dance of energy and change. Buddhism echoes this truth, teaching us that life is in constant motion, always transforming. This might sound unsettling at first. We all crave stability, don't we? But impermanence is what allows growth, renewal, and even healing. When we stop clinging to what's temporary and embrace the flow of life, we find a kind of freedom that no external certainty could ever give us. Perhaps one of the most fascinating parallels lies in the role of observation. In quantum physics, the act of observing changes the outcome of experiments. Reality itself seems to depend on how we interact with it. Buddhism teaches something similar, that our perceptions, thoughts, and intentions shape our experience of the world. When we practice mindfulness and observe the present moment without judgment, we start to see reality as it truly is, not clouded by fear, desire, or assumptions. This clarity is transformative. It's in this state of awareness that we find wisdom and compassion. These insights aren't just intellectually stimulating, they're deeply transformative. They invite us to live differently, to approach life with greater awareness, humility, and compassion. They encourage us to see ourselves not as isolated beings, but as part of something much greater, a mysterious, interconnected universe where every thought, word, and action matters. So, what does this mean for you? Whether you're drawn to the spiritual wisdom of Buddhism or the mind-bending discoveries of quantum physics, one thing is clear. Both paths remind us of our shared humanity. They remind us that understanding the nature of reality isn't just about knowledge. It's about how we live, how we connect, and how we care for one another. In this realization, we might just unlock the key to a more meaningful life. A life where we let go of control, embrace the flow of change, and live with kindness and curiosity. A life where we see the beauty in the smallest moments and the infinite possibilities in every choice we make. Thank you for exploring this with us today on the Buddhism Podcast. If this message resonates with you, take a moment to reflect on it and share it with someone who might need to hear it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to join us on more journeys of discovery. Until next time, may you walk through life with awareness, peace, and compassion.